Good morning, everyone. I hope your day is going well, and I hope you had a good night's sleep, and that you got plenty of rest, and that you're ready to start your brand new day. Yesterday, we talked about how the importance of having man on the earth in order to bring things into being, and how important that is. But now we get into a more interesting part. This is going to be cool. So we're still in the second chapter of Genesis, going to verse 6. A mist ascended from the earth and watered the whole surface of the soil. Remember, when we're talking about water, we're talking about the waveforms, spiritual things. Water the whole surface of the soil. And Hashem, God, formed man of the dust of the ground, and he blew into his nostrils the soul of life, and man became a living being. A mist ascended from the earth and watered the whole surface of the soil. And Hashem, God, formed the man of dust from the ground. And he blew into his nostrils the soul of life, and man became a living being. Man became a living being. The soul of life. God breathed into his nostrils the soul of life. God, what it's talking about here is God took a part of itself, the life force within it, and placed it into a man, sent it to the man so that it became a living soul. When people look at this, usually what they think of is there's this mannequin laying down there on the ground, motionless and soulless and mindless and whatever. And then God comes up to it and does CPR. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 and 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 and 15 and 16 and 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's not what it means here. It's literally God taking a part of itself, sending it out there so that there would be another part of God there. Like God separated itself between the waters. God separated itself in order to create, in order to have a living soul. God is spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. You see, God is spirit. God took his spirit and made another being, which is part of God. I know. These things did not have bodies yet. They did not have bodies. They were still spiritual beings. They were living souls. Living souls. Okay? Got that? Okay. Good. And man became a living being. And Hashem God planted a garden in Eden to the east and placed there the man who he had formed. So he created this wonderful, wonderful place for this spiritual being to inhabit, to live in. It had all the most wonderful things. Hashem God caused to sprout from the ground every tree that was pleasing to the sight and good for food. See, this is really pretty. But notice it couldn't occur until the man was there. The man is where all this stuff is emanating from. Don't believe me? Look at quantum mechanics. Yeah. The observer is what makes it become a thing. All right. And Hashem God caused to sprout from the ground, from every tree that was pleasing to the sight and good for food, also the tree of life in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and bad. There we go. So man becomes a living soul. And then there's a garden. And then there's a tree. There's a tree of life. And there's a tree of the knowledge of good and bad. Some call it good and evil. So we have the tree of life, which whoever eats of it lives forever. Yeah, not like we don't do it anyway. But the tree of life is that which, you continue to live in harmony, wonderfulness. But then when you taste of the tree of the knowledge of good and bad, something changes. And we'll get into that next time. A little tease for you. But what I want to leave you with here is that man is a living soul which is emanated from God, from Hashem God. God breathed life into this being, and it doesn't have a body yet. That's coming.